Hey, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today I'm talking about my brand new study guide, The Foundations of Reading Test Study Guide, the FORT. And I'm going to go through everything that we have to offer in this brand new study guide and some tips and tricks for you on passing the exam. Let's get started. All right, so many of you have emailed and asked, when are you doing a Foundations of Reading test book? Well, it is now available. This is probably my best book yet. Every time I publish a new book, I get better and better because I get feedback from all of you, and I just learn so much. And I will say that this book is probably one of my favorites. Now, if you have the teaching reading and you have our other reading books, they are amazing as well. This is just amped up a little bit. Of course, we have a lot more practice test questions, and I have some other things I want to show you about this book. But you can see like it's tabbed out very nicely. You can jump to all the different sections that you want to have a look at, and it covers everything on the Foundations of Reading test. So I'm going to hop over to my digital copy so I can kind of scroll through it on the screen and walk you through what this book has to offer and how to use it when you are studying for your exam. All right, so you know that when you purchase a digital study guide from our website, you are emailed a PDF. And some people enjoy a PDF because they can pull it up on their iPad. If you have PDF viewer like I do here, you can highlight things as well. Some people enjoy a digital document. Now, others prefer a physical copy like I showed you in the beginning, and that's available on Amazon. But I want to go through the digital copy so it can be on the screen so you can see everything that this book has to offer. Remember, the digital copy and the physical copy are identical. It's just that when you buy the digital, you buy it directly from us on our website and it is emailed to you. When you buy the physical copy, it is through Amazon KDP, and if you do it through Prime, they'll have it to you in just a couple of days. Now, notice that I have my pages over here. And when you buy the digital copy, the table of contents is linked. So I just want to go through the table of contents so you can see everything that we have to offer here. So the Foundations of Reading test is broken up into 4 major sections. And it's going to be the foundations of reading development. So that's going to be all of those foundational skills: phonological and phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, and some morphology. Morphology is actually pulled out and has its own section on this particular test. Most tests kind of lump it in with phonics. This particular test has it out on its own. So we have done that. You can see that underneath every major heading or every major section, there are objectives here. So you can see phonological and phonemic awareness. You can see here phonics. You can see over here syllabication. So we have sectioned those out based on the test specifications. And of course, after each section, so this is phonological and phonemic awareness, I have all of the information here. And then at the end of each section, there are going to be quizzes, mini quizzes. So these are 10 practice test questions just for phonological and phonemic awareness and anything that has to do with that. So you can see what those questions look like. Then you can see here very detailed answer explanations. I have decided to go overboard on the answer explanations because I have found that people learn best when they know why things are incorrect as well. So of course we talk about why it is correct, but we also focus on why it is incorrect as well, because understanding why answers are incorrect is going to help you, because there's small nuances between the correct answers and the incorrect answers on the exam. So that's going to help you out here. So after each section, you can see that there are 10 practice test questions specific to that section, okay? And then you get into the next one, and this is going to be for phonics, and it's going to, get into all of that. Also, you can see here these think like a test maker little boxes here. It's got this guy with the glasses. That's your test maker. So you need to think like a test maker. These are all the tips and tricks I have learned over the years of building exam questions, studying test specifications, and finding patterns on exams. This will help you be strategic and tackle complex questions in a way that will benefit you on the exam. So definitely pay attention to this little guy here with the glasses, and anywhere you see think like a test maker listed. Now, of course, we start with foundations of reading development. Those are your foundational skills. Then we get into reading comprehension, which are more advanced skills with vocabulary and reading comprehension of informational and literary text. And then we get into this section, reading assessment and instruction. Assessment is so important. And I have a very robust section on this, taking you through code-based assessments, meaning-based assessments, formative assessments, summative assessments, formal assessments, informal assessments, and then, of course, all the different types, screening, diagnostic, summative, criterion, reference. We have all of this here for you. And then, of course, 10 practice test questions that focus just on assessment, because assessing students' reading skills is one of the most important things a reading teacher can do, because that's going to drive your instructional decisions moving forward. Okay, so assessment is a big one, and we have tackled that here. Now, I also have 2 full 100-question practice tests with detailed answer explanations. So you can see here, this is practice test 1, structured similarly to what you will see on exam day in terms of the complexity of the questions, in terms of the length of the questions, and of course, the subject area, what the questions are testing: phonological, phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, morphology, vocabulary, comprehension, and assessment. So very detailed questions here that force you to think critically, so you're prepared on test day. And then, of course, very detailed answer explanations where we have the correct answer, and then, of course, why the others are incorrect, because that is so important. And of course, I do that in both practice tests 1 and practice test 2. So along with the 10 mini quizzes after each objective, so there are 9 total 10-question mini quizzes, we have 2 full practice tests with very detailed answer explanations. And then, of course, what lots of people need help with is the integration of knowledge, or the open response section of the exam. I have built an extremely comprehensive approach to tackling this task. I break down all the questions, all of the types of questions you might be asked, and I give you ways in which you can be prepared for any question. So you can see I've got tips for success and things like that, but then I break down each scenario. You have your task, and then I have a sample response. There are 10 of these in the book. So there are 10 open response prompts for you to work with. And again, let's say you wrote to this open response first and you went through all of them and you practiced. You can write to it again using a different approach. It's not done just because you wrote to it once. You can write to it again and again using a different strategy or using a different approach. But having 10 open response practice test questions and ways to practice is by far much more comprehensive than any other study guide on the market. I promise. I have checked. Nobody has this many open response questions. I want to prepare you for this, and this is going to help you. The more you write, the more you understand what they're asking you to do, and the more strategic you are in answering these open response questions, the better prepared you will be. Along with that, I have a reference section. Now, the test specs do not address writing. Now, I have addressed writing in the references portion of the study guide, because I believe that reading comprehension and writing go hand in hand. Phonics and writing go hand in hand. So just in case you get a writing question, even though it was not addressed in the test specifications built by the testing company, I want to make sure that you are prepared. So I have a whole writing section here to prepare you just in case. And then, of course, we have our famous good words, bad words list. This list is full of good words and phrases that you should be looking for in the correct answer choices. So these are words that are taken from the test specifications, words that identify best practices in teaching reading. And you want to be on the lookout for these words, and also words like them, words that allude to these types of practices. You might not see action research, spelled out specifically on the exam, but you might have something where teachers are collecting, fluency data and then making decisions and then studying that data along the way. That's action research. Okay. So you want to have a look at these, really understand them, and be able to identify these practices, even if it's not, specifically said differentiated instruction. Maybe it says scaffolding instruction to meet the student's specific needs. That's also differentiated instruction. So get to know these good words and phrases. They will be very helpful as you work backward, like I always talk about on the exam. Now, beyond that, we have a bad words and phrases section. It's much smaller, but these are the words you want to stay away from when taking the exam. If you see these in answer choices, typically they are incorrect. So I have that for you as well. So you can see it is extremely comprehensive. I have covered everything. I have so much information in here to help you be successful on the exam, and I highly recommend our study guide. And please read it. A lot of people flip to the back and go straight to the practice test questions, and I understand that that feels really good to do. I love taking a practice test, but the information in the book is very important because I don't know what test questions you are going to get on test day. If you're looking for exact questions that you're going to get on test day, this is not the book for you. I don't have that information. There's no way to do that. And it's against the testing policies. But what I have done is taken all the information from the test specs and the blueprint and made sure we have extensively covered every single objective, every single skill, and every single standard you are required to master in order to pass this exam. And then the test questions are built in a way that mirror the complexity and the structure that you will see on test day. So it's very important that you do the practice tests, but it's also very important that you understand what's going on inside the book, because that's going to help you with your open response. The information in the book translates to a successful essay. So make sure you're reading the book. Very, very important. Now, you might be asking, how do I use this giant book? There's so much information here. How do I use this book to the best of my ability? Well, my suggestion to you is this. I would take practice test 1 first, cold. I would not look at the answer explanations. I would just grade it. So let me hop over and show you what that might look like. Okay, so here is practice test 1. I would take this as a baseline. Just take it. Don't think too hard on questions. If you have no idea, guess and go, or put a little dot next to it so that you know you have no idea what that question means, and just move through it. Don't, agonize over anything. We're just getting a baseline score. Then I would grade the practice test, but I would not look at these answer explanations. Just grade it based on the answers here. Okay. I would also look at the category, because let's say you missed like 10 or 12 in category 1, that you really need to look at category 1. Most likely, if you've never taken the reading exam before, or you're brand new to this, you're going to bomb every section, and that's okay. But this will give you a baseline. But please don't look at this, because I want you to be able to reuse this practice test. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Just grade it and get a baseline score. So we've gotten our baseline score and we have bombed it, and that's totally fine. Let's just say you're at a 50%, you're at a 47%. No problem. That's the baseline. There's only one way to go, and that is up. So now what I want you to do is go through each section. So here we are in section 1. Go through it, really get to know this section, understand everything, read it, make flashcards, do whatever you do and how you study, paying close attention to this Think Like a Test Maker pop-out, and then take the mini quiz at the end. Score it. And look at your answer explanations here. This is now the time to really dig in and be like, why did I get this wrong? I chose A. Why did I choose A? And get in there and really understand it. And whatever questions you got wrong, go back into the study guide and find that section or that area where it talks about it and fix that up. So that now the ones you got wrong on the mini quizzes, now you know why, and you know what the correct answer is, and you know how to do them. All right. Then do that for the next section. Go to section 2, read all of it, get to know it, understand it. and then do the mini quiz or the practice questions at the end of section 2 using that same method. Going in here, looking at the answers, looking at the explanation. Oh, you know what? I chose C for number 2. Why? Why is that wrong? Okay, it tells me here. Then go back into section 2 and say, I was really low in free and bound morphemes. Let me have a quick look at this again, and just fix that up. If you have the digital study guide, you can always control F for like bound, right? If you got bound morphemes wrong, you could click around and see where bound morphemes are addressed in the study guide. That's always very helpful with the digital guide. If you are using the physical one, you could just go in and have a look, but making sure that you're fixing up whatever it is that you were low in that quiz. Now, once you've gone through every section, all 9 objectives, and done all 9 mini quizzes and fixed up any areas where you were low, go back in and take practice test 1 again. Yes, it's a little bit of repeat and you might have remembered one of the correct answers, whatever, but you will notice that you have done so much better on this practice test because you have gone through the entire book, done the mini quizzes, gone back in, fixed up where you were low, and totally worked on those skills. Then you go in and look at the answer explanations now, because you're not going to reuse this. This is your second time on practice test 1. You want to definitely have a look and see why things were correct, why things were incorrect. I promise you, your score is going to go up from the baseline score for sure. And so then you see where you are, right? Then go back into the study guide. So let's say you missed this one for section 3 or objective 3, and you missed this one for objective 3. Go in and fix those up and, spot check wherever you are low. And then as a final assessment for the multiple choice, you are going to take practice test 2. You will most likely be very prepared if you have followed that strategy that I just told you. And you should do pretty well on this. If you score a 75% or higher, you are ready to take the exam. You really only need like a low C, high D to pass. But I always like to say 75 to 80%, you are in the safe zone. You are ready to take the test. Now, it's not just a multiple choice test, is it? We also have our open response. And so it's very important that you then, once you've sort of mastered that multiple choice, you get into the open response. Here is something to remember. All of the information that you learned in the book about phonological and phonemic awareness, about phonics, about fluency, comprehension, vocabulary, all of that, you have to use that information to show your subject matter knowledge, which is something they are going to test you on when you are writing. So don't just think about learning what's in the book for the purposes of answering the multiple choice questions. You are going to take that information and use it in your open response, because now you have gained a lot of subject matter knowledge. You understand phonics, you understand fluency, you understand all these foundational skills and more complex skills like comprehension and vocab. Now, you can get up to a 4, right? But really, you need a 3. You need a 3 on each one to pass. You don't need to be, the world's most advanced writer. You have a master's in writing. No, you need to have adequate knowledge and understanding of subject matter, and the purpose is largely achieved. You are under pressure right now to write. You are not going to write your best material under these circumstances, okay? But what we want to do is make sure you're prepared. So I have a whole writing course, and I'm going to show you where to get it. But this is very important because each task has similar attributes. And I go through all of those same things that are in every single task. The only thing that changes is the prompt. But if you can come to the table understanding phonological and phonemic awareness, and you have a few strategies in your mind based on what you read in the book, a few best practices, you can apply them to any prompt, any scenario that you get. And I go through that more in depth in the book. And I also go even more in depth in our online course. And I'll show you where to get all of that in a second. So you can see here that I have, the open response. I would write to it if I were you first. Then I would check out the sample response that I wrote for you. that would have been a 3 or a 4, right? And grade it against your own. Now, the other thing I want you to do is take a look at the rubric. You want to grade yourself, or if you have a friend who's studying with you, you guys could trade, responses and grade each other's. But this is what the readers of your essays are going to be using. And so it's important that you understand that. Also, be sure you are applying tips for success here, thinking like a test maker. You want to make sure you're doing what I say here. I have graded a lot of essays over the years, especially for tests like this. I have been studying the blueprint and specifications for this exam. I understand what they're looking for. Make sure you follow this framework. All right, so a ton of information and some methods on how to use it. Remember, you can use it any way you want. If you have a way you like to study, you don't have to use my method. I just get a lot of emails, people asking, how do I use this book? There's so much information. I'm overwhelmed. And so that's why I laid it out for you today. But you can jump around. I typically jump around a lot in books. I never read from top to bottom. I'm always working backward and kind of examining things from the inside out rather than starting from the top and moving down to the bottom. But you might be different. So do what you think is right. But please, 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 please don't just do practice tests over and over again. Get to know the information. This is also going to make you an incredible reading teacher. The strategies in here are totally applicable to your classroom. And so a lot of people email and say, I got your book, I passed the test, and now it's still in my classroom because I pull from this in order to address the needs of my students in my classroom, which is like such an honor for me. That is totally what I want teachers to do. Now, let me show you where to get our resources, both the book and online course. All right, so this is our website, and I will link it up in the description below. But you can see under study guides, it is at the top, Foundations of Reading. When you buy from us, you get the digital download. That's what I showed you in the video there. And when you add to cart and you buy, it will be given to you as a digital download. It'll be emailed to you, and you can also access it on our accounts page. Once you buy, you're going to want to create an account. And when you do, you will be able to access all of your materials here. Okay, so when you go into your account, you'll be able to click order details. And when you do, you will see the detail of what you ordered. And it's the Foundations of Reading test. If you bought from us, it will be in a digital download. It's emailed to you, but you can also access it here by clicking download here. When you do, you get this little icon here. You click download up in the right-hand corner, and it will be sent to your computer in your downloads. Mine shows up right away when I download something like this. Yours may not. Go to your downloads and then be sure to save it to your computer so you can access it anytime. Now, we also have an online course that comes with everything. It has hours and hours of video, and it comes with the digital study guide. So you get everything when you buy the online course. You can see our description here, but I'm going to show you what the online course looks like now. Okay, so when you log into our online portal, which is brand new, and we have an app and everything for you, that'll all be linked up in the description below. But you can see that this is the entire online course. Look how comprehensive it is. It goes through all of the objectives. Of course, you can check out this video on how to use the course. Then you can download the digital study guide here, just like you did with the other link. It'll go straight to your computer in a PDF. And then for every single section, I have a video. They're about 20 to 30 minutes long. Then we have the quizzes online. Those are the same quizzes in the book, but they're online, so you can get used to taking them online and get a score. And then I have an explanation video about the quizzes so you can see why things are correct, why they're incorrect, and I go through each of them. I do that for every single section. I talk about phonics, I talk about fluency, I talk about morphology. Then there's a quiz, then there is an explanation video. Now, beyond that is the open response. I have a very comprehensive review about how to tackle the open response. Then I have some examples from the foundational skills open response questions. And then I have some examples of the comprehension open response questions. There are two types of open response questions: foundational skills and comprehension. You're going to get one from each. So it's important that you understand how to tackle them. And I go through them and I walk you through exactly how I did each one. So very comprehensive. All right. So that is the whole thing. If you are interested in getting the book, go to KathleenJasper.com. You can also go to Amazon, search my name and the Foundations of Reading test. It will pop up. If you're interested in the online course, that is also on our website. Of course, I have webinars for this particular exam. I will link everything up in the description below. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and it will be our pleasure to help. You can contact us at info@kathleenjasper.com. Good luck on your Foundations of Reading test, and I will see you soon. Bye.